When your season's on the line, who you going to call? Buddy Hield. Alfred coming in and getting the job done with 33 points to lead the Golden State Warriors. They needed every single one of them. Steph Curry picks it up in the second half, hits the night-night on Houston's season as the Warriors win in 7, and they advance to play the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's celebrate tonight.
You are Locked On Warriors.
Stop trying to turn the page on us so fast.
Your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
We got 4 championships.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Every team has a chance if Steph's on the team.
Your team every day.
Oh, baby. What do you say, everyone? Golden State 103. The Houston Rockets only put up 89 points on this daunting Golden State Warriors defense tonight as the Warriors take down the Houston Rockets in 7. This is Locked On Warriors. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Very much appreciate you for tuning into the show, making this a part of your day. You can find us on YouTube, wherever you get your audio podcast. First-time listener, long-time listener. If you're not subscribed to the show, hit that button right now. It's free. Give us a thumbs up and hop in the comments to leave your thoughts on a big-time Golden State Warriors win. Matt Kolsky, my co-host tonight, 95.7 The Game, KNBR formerly. I was formerly at 95.7 The Game, which is the flagship for the Golden State Warriors. Also, CBS News Bay Area, call letters KPIX. It's easy where we start, man. It's
with
Buddy
your shirt.
Hield.
It's your shirt. Where'd you get that shirt? That's a beauty, my guy.
Thank you. But that is not where we start.
Oh,
I
sorry.
appreciate the shout out on the shirt. We start off with Buddy Hield. We knew at the beginning of this season, it took like 3 games to know that when Buddy Hield is hot, and the stats back this up, the Golden State Warriors win. Hield had 22 points in the first half, 6 3-pointers. He had 22 points before Steph Curry hit a shot in this game, and the Warriors had a double-digit lead. Curry had 0. Hield had 22. Warriors were up double figures. Draymond had double-digit points at that point. Outstanding. Hield finishes with 33, had 9 triples in the contest. Playoff Jimmy hit just tough shot after tough shot. He is a big shot maker and a big shot taker. Every time the Rockets tried to cut a 14-point deficit into like 5, into 3, whatever in the second half, it was Hield, it was Curry, it was Butler hitting big shot after big shot, and the Golden State Warriors move on to face the Minnesota Timberwolves. Your opening thoughts on a huge performance from Buddy Hield?
Why does my guy think I'm hating on Buddy Hield? I don't hate on Buddy Hield. And tonight, what could you say? He was unbelievable. And like, first of all, that pass that Steph hit him with, when I think that was his first 3, the like weird over the shoulder. After that, it just seemed, when Buddy has those nights, man, it seems like he could just throw it over his shoulder and it'll go in. It's so much fun to watch. And he's just such a fun guy in general. I've never hated on Buddy Hield. I've maybe reported accurately when he doesn't have good games, but look,
we've both hated on him, but it's not necessarily hate. It's literally reading a box score and saying he went 0 of 5 from 3 and did nothing. Yes.
Yeah, no, you don't get this every night. If he did this every night, he'd be Steph Curry, but he does it sometimes. And tonight he did it in the biggest possible moment. So you're not going to take anything away from that guy. And by the way, you know what I was thinking about as this game was closing? Buddy Hield outplayed Jalen Green in this 7-game series.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the Warriors will take that. That is, if you told anybody before the series, hey, you know what, Buddy Hield's going to have a better series than Jalen Green. Okay, Warriors win. Like, we know how good they are when he's hot, and tonight was certainly one of those nights. And you know what? Miguel in the chat points this out too. He was making an impact defensively tonight. He's never going to be Draymond Green, but his effort was good. He made fewer mistakes than we often see from him, and nothing but credit for Buddy tonight. He was awesome.
Warriors were awesome from the rip, man. I mean, it was Draymond with 8 points in the first couple minutes of the game, knocked down a few threes, went strong to the bucket for a layup. You knew that Butler was going to get after it early and often. Curry, though, you could tell the thumb was bothering him early. I think he missed his first 5 shots in the game, 4 threes. Didn't really look good until the final 30 seconds of the first half. Second half, however, when it came to Steph, he was getting inside. They were basically, over pressuring Curry to the point where he'd just go right past them and lay it up and in, had some slick reverses, used his gravity to his advantage all night and found Buddy Hield, or found someone who would find Buddy Hield. Kerr pushed a bunch of the right buttons today. Udoka went with the lineup that had given them a plus 35 advantage entering this game. That's the 2 bigs with Adams and Şengün. And today was the first time in the series where it felt like the Warriors completely took advantage of it. And the reason is because when Buddy Hield is knocking down threes like that, it's a completely different team. And you're right, you don't get it every night. You got it tonight, and you just kicked the Rockets' asses. But forget the 103 points. That is the style that the Warriors wanted to play in this series. Don't turn it over as much as the Rockets. I believe that was a check in that regard tonight. They'd won every single game when they turned it over less. And you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they won that statistic.
Yeah, they killed them. Well, I mean, the Rockets didn't turn it over a ton, but Warriors only turned it over 7 times. And that's really the thing they need to worry about. And I swear 3 of them were on 3 consecutive possessions in the third quarter, too. So for most of the game, incredibly secure with the ball. The chat has been pointing this out already. Part of what characterized tonight was really excellent defensive effort from everybody across the board. Steph Curry, Buddy Hield, everybody who got, even Kuminga, who was terrible tonight. Defensively, the effort was there, right? The whole team for 48 minutes was all over the Rockets. And you see what I was trying to say and maybe didn't say elegantly enough on Friday. Like, this Houston team doesn't have any answers for that. They're not quite good enough. Now, look, they're an exciting, young, up-and-coming team that is a legitimate playoff scorer away from being truly dangerous. But they don't have that guy, and we saw it again tonight. And the Warriors made sure we saw it again by defending their butts off from the opening whistle. That was a big part of tonight. But, it really is Buddy. And Buddy might not give you what he gave you tonight every night, but the Warriors are going to have to get that from somebody every night that they want a playoff win. Because I would actually argue, who knows what the thumb, I don't know. But I would argue that as much as, if not more than the thumb, what slowed Steph down in the first half was they were double teaming him on the touch almost every time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first half I was watching with my about to be 6-year-old, right? And I'm telling him, look, Pajemski's getting wide open runners from 5 feet because they got 2 guys on Steph 4 feet beyond the 3-point line. And Stephen Curry usually makes the right play in those situations. I think we've had some bumps in that road, but for the most part, Stephen Curry usually makes the right play when he is double and triple teamed. The question has been, are the other guys going to hit the open shots that they get? And tonight, Buddy hit basically all of them.
19 of Curry's 22 came in the second half. We'll have a deep dive on what he did in the second half, but I do want to give a shout to the Rockets for about 30 seconds. Specifically, I'm in Thompson. I said a few days ago that I don't know if you can't knock down the outside shot, if you can't put any pressure on the defense to the point where they can sag 5 feet off you, then it's going to be tough to be a superstar caliber player. Even if he doesn't develop that shot, man, I mean, he's something else. He's a talent. He really grew on me in the series. Yep. Şengün wasn't awesome today by any means. I thought the Warriors did a great job of defending him, but it was also just Şengün missing some point blank buckets. I mean, there was one, he had a chance for an and one. You could see that he was angry, went up for a little finger roll and missed the 2-footer. And that was kind of the story of the Rockets night. They missed a lot of close shots. Van Fleet did not get enough shot opportunities, only took 6 threes in the game. He needed more than that. He had 17. And you mentioned it. Jalen Green was kind of the X factor in this series. If he could get going, he gave the Rockets a little bit of offensive firepower to keep up with the Warriors. And when he's only scoring 8 points and you're getting 11 points from your bench, which consisted of 3 from Jabari Smith, 5 from Tari Eason, and 3 from Steven Adams, that is not enough. Rockets are on the rise. They're a piece away from being a legitimate contending team in the NBA. But as of right now, they are a 2 seed that are upsetted by the 7 seed. Rebounding battle today. It was 52 for Houston. It was 38 for Golden State. Who cares? When you turn the other team over more, when you hold them to 40% from the floor, 33% from deep, that is how you win basketball games. Warriors 18 threes on 43 attempts. Draymond with 16, Butler with 20, Curry with 22, Buddy Hield with 33, Pajimski with 9, 3 for Kevon Looney. That was how the Warriors tallied up 103 as they advance to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more to get into from this game. It's coming up on Locked On Warriors.
And buddy, stop trying to dribble the ball.
He dribbled the ball fine in this one. That was not the right drop for this. But today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Betterhelp. Let me tell you a little bit about Betterhelp. The world has made a lot of progress when it comes to mental health, but there's still a long way to go. Too many people still avoid therapy because they're afraid of being judged. But the truth is, taking care of your mental health should be just as normal as going to the gym or eating healthy. It's crucial, everyone. In this Mental Health Awareness Month, let's normalize getting help and encourage everyone to prioritize their well-being, because when people feel supported, families, workplaces, and entire communities are better for it. Therapy, look, I know Kolsky's done it. I've done it. We've all done it. If not, you should do it. Life is not perfect. Things get in the way. Sometimes you just want to talk to someone. Sometimes it's over a podcast talking about the frustrations of the Golden State Warriors, but there are a lot more real-life issues that happen on a daily basis, and that's where BetterHelp can help you out. You could switch therapists at no extra cost. 30,000 licensed therapists. Not bad. We're all better with help. So visit betterhelp.com/lockedonnba to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. All right, man. It felt like the Warriors had lost all momentum in this series. A game in Houston where the Rockets had seemingly figured out the Warriors with the whole size and the rebounding and the second chance opportunities. In one possession into this game, it was Şengün on the block and traveled like 3 times the first possession, misses his shot, tips it up, gets his own offensive rebound. Then they actually call the travel. And I'm thinking to myself, how are they going to guard Şengün on the block if Draymond's playing the 5 and Moses Moody's your power forward? How are they going to guard him? And Şengün got off to a good start. The Rockets were kind of hanging around early, despite the Warriors playing really good basketball and having great intensity out of the gate. And, man, there was a Kevon Looney few-minute stretch in both halves where they put him in there on Steven Adams, and Looney made an impact both setting screens, actually finished around the rim, grabbing rebounds, just putting defensive pressure on the rim in general. Looney was awesome. It takes a village, man. We talked about that so much. And it's just funny to me because Gary Payton II, another one of those expiring contracts that we talked about potentially sending out when the Warriors were looking for that second fish during the trade deadline. It was just like, attach Looney and Payton, get rid of the $20 million, whatever it may be. Payton was sick. He couldn't go. Thank God the Warriors still have Kevon Looney, because there were many talks of him kind of losing his role to Quentin Post. Maybe you bring back Trace Jackson Davis into the fold. Who knows? But I'll tell you what, when I looked at that Kings box score from a couple of years ago when Looney had 20 rebounds in that game and noticed that he started and played 30 minutes, it got me thinking. Even though he seems like an old spirit, he's still a young man, and he can still give you 11 very effective minutes out there. Kevon Looney, our unsung hero of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about hero, but I don't know about unsung here either, right? Like, Kevon Looney is who Kevon Looney is, and anytime you call on him, he's going to give you what Kevon Looney gives you, which is toughness, defense, rebounding. If you get a couple buckets, bonus. But I think Steve Kerr has done his best to talk about it a lot, but I do think it's hard to overstate, even if he's only going to play 10 or 15 minutes in any given game, what a nice security blanket it is to have a guy like Kevon Looney, who is going to be exclusively a positive force in the locker room, exclusively a good soldier, exclusively doing the right things when he's on the basketball floor. We all know what Kevon Looney's limits are, but his reliability, consistency, and just like focus is a rare combination, and that's why he has been on this team for as long as he has, despite never being a star. That's who Kevon Looney is, and tonight was, you're right, another great example of that's a winning player. In 5 minutes, in 10 minutes, in 15, 20 minutes, that's a winning player.
Chuck Barkley was very, very confident. Not Chuck Walter. I had the Warriors in 6. They get it done in 7. But Chuck Barkley was very confident that Houston was going to win this game. I'm sure a lot of Rockets fans, when they heard that, thought, "Oh no, we're mushed. We're mushed by the mush artist himself."
Not one Rocket fan enjoyed Barkley guaranteeing a Houston win. Not one.
No. And here's the thing: like Barkley's take was always jump shooting teams aren't going to win NBA championships. That's not going to get it done. But go back to the first quarter when the Warriors really gave themselves some separation. Warriors made 6 threes and only 2 twos. The Rockets made 9 twos and 0 made threes. The final number, Golden State had 18 threes. Houston had 6. I mean, that's your difference in the game. When you get a Buddy and you get a Steph performance like that, and you get Draymond knocking down a few and Pods knocking down one, and even Jimmy Butler, it's almost like the tougher the three, the easier it is for Jimmy Butler to put the ball in the hole. It's the strangest phenomenon. He's just a tough shot maker, man, in big moments too. That was really the story of the game. I mean, defense, it wins championships, and it won this game 7, but it was the 3-point shooting that really propelled the Warriors, because when Curry was not hitting anything early and that he was bricking wide open threes that he doesn't brick often, you're thinking to yourself, oh no, like what are the Dubs going to do? Rockets pull that zone out. First possession of the zone, Kuminga, this is when he got pulled the first time. He tries to go over the top right into the middle and cut into that zone and just throws it into 3 Houston defenders. They go the other way. It's a huge swing. And you're thinking, if Curry, isn't effective knocking down threes in this game, like what are we going to do? And the answer obviously was Buddy Hield hitting some ridiculous threes, including a buzzer beater from about 35 feet.
Yeah. It's a Buddy night, right? This has been the pattern all year. The record, I mean, they finally lost one when he had
his best game of the season. His best game of the season by far.
Well, I mean, when you consider the context, certainly, right? I mean,
I think it's a season high. I don't think he's had 33.
I don't know. I think he might have had even more than 33 once or twice. He's had some huge games this year.
He has. He's had some 8-3 games.
Certainly, I mean, this is a game 7. Like, this is the biggest game of his life as an NBA player, undeniably. He's never had a meaningful playoff game before this season. And I think you could argue he was a factor in 2 of their 4 wins, right?
He's never had chances, though. And in his defense, he had only played in like 1 playoff game with the Sixers.
Series.
He got DNPs, yeah. So
he played at 4 or 5 games. Yeah, no, I'm not saying he's like. I mean, again, I think Buddy Hield in the playoffs is exactly who Buddy Hield in the regular season is, which means some nights he's not going to give you a lot. That's the nature of this player. But this is. Look, for those of us that questioned Steve Kerr's commitment to Buddy Hield, this is why you commit to Buddy Hield. It's because when it hits big, and it can win you basketball games now it's proven it can win you basketball games in the biggest, toughest kind of basketball game that there is, a playoff game 7. Like, this is definitely a point in favor of Steve Kerr's commitment to giving Buddy Hield a minimum of 15, 20 minutes every night.
I find it fantastic that Dylan Brooks was kind of running his mouth all series. He was that emotional spark plug for Houston. And in the biggest game of his life, he goes 3 of 9, 0 of 3, only grabs a couple of rebounds, turns it over a couple times, had 3 personal fouls, just did not do a ton. That especially for you, Kolsky, like that's got to be just a beautiful sight for your eyes.
It's not. I don't care.
I'm teeing you up, Kolsky. I'm teeing.
I know. Dylan Brooks is a laughing stock to me, and he always will be. Until he changes the way he plays basketball. It's like if Russell Westbrook just didn't have talent. It's like I mean, and look, it's all relative. In the same way that when I say the Rockets aren't that good, it's all relative. The Rockets are better than 20 NBA teams, you know? That's pretty good. They had a really good season. They're up and coming, but relative to the level you need in the NBA playoffs, you know, I think they were the second weakest team in the Western Conference top 8. Same thing with Dylan Brooks. Like, compared to me, he's incredible. Compared to guys in the NBA, he's a fraud and not that good. And if you're starting him and taking your emotional lead from him, I think you're going to have problems always. And Memphis always did with him. And this series, the Rockets did with him. And for all that he might get credit for provoking Draymond or, you know, towing the line physically to bother some of the Warriors, like, he's also straight up dirty. We've seen him commit dirty plays and injure players. And when the chips are down, he's 3 for 9, 0 for 3 from 3, and like taking weird turnaround fadeaways as if he's a high level scorer. He's just not. He thinks he is someone that he's not. And I don't like watching him. So that's how I feel about Dylan Brooks. But he's not the story here, because nobody thought Dylan Brooks was going to be the guy who led the Rockets over the line, right? The question was, what can Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, and Alperen Sengun do? And for the very most part tonight, the Warriors took care of the business with those guys.
What if there is, in this reality we live in, a chance that Houston is indeed very good? And I know you've given your takes that they're just not there. They won 52 games off a style of play that is very conducive to the regular season, where they play harder than teams. They're younger, they're fresh, whatever it may be. What if they're actually very good and we see that going into Minnesota? Because you say, who would you have taken over them, or who would you have taken the Rockets over in the West? What if we have taken them over the Lakers? I mean, the Lakers laid a complete egg against the Wolves, and who thought the Wolves were going to win that series? Nobody. Truly nobody.
I strongly disagree with that. You've said that to me
disagree
privately,
that
and I
you
told
thought
you the
that,
same thing.
You thought that the
Plenty of
Lakers were going to
people-
lose that series?
No, but I thought it would be a 7-game knockout drag down. Like, I thought that both teams were very good, and I certainly thought Minnesota had a chance. And I was wrong, but there are definitely smart basketball people, who picked the Timberwolves. So I don't think it was like nobody ever thought the Timberwolves could win. You know what I mean? In the same way that the Warriors were favored to win this series, right? Like, yeah, they're the 7th seed, but look, what I definitely didn't expect is Minnesota to handle the Lakers the way they did. And if you're a Warriors fan thinking, you know, it's not going to be brutally difficult, you've got another thing coming, because that team is deep. They are talented. They're more talented than the Rockets, play nearly as good defense, have nearly as much size, and have multiple guys that you trust as go-to scorers more than anybody on this Rockets team. Plus, they're incredibly well-rested. So it is a big uphill climb that the Warriors are heading into. And I got to be honest, like, put Kuminga aside, right? He stunk tonight, and Steve Kerr doesn't want to play him. So forget Kuminga. Forget my Kuminga obsession. If the Warriors can't find more than 20 bench minutes of production, literally 22 minutes of bench play tonight, they have no shot. They can't run Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry 45 minutes a night against that Minnesota team. They will be finished by game 3. So
let's factor
Steve
in
Kerr's got to figure
Peyton.
something out.
I mean, that's 15 minutes and potentially 10 plus points that you get from time to time from Peyton.
I guess, but I would have told you Moses Moody was that, and he only played 10 tonight. Like, when the chips were down, Steve Kerr went basically starters all night with Buddy Hield as one of those guys. Even if you put Peyton in there, Todd makes the point. I think I honestly think, given the situation with Kuminga, Post is kind of the huge X factor in this series, because they are going to play bigs. Naz Reid is going to be going after you. And I don't know if I love Quentin Post matching up defensively against Naz Reid, but
What
like,
choice do you have?
yeah. And you hope that Post can find his shot because it hasn't been there so far in the playoffs. Now, maybe we're 7 games into the playoffs. Every night he's getting more playoff experience exponentially, you would hope. Maybe he's getting a little more comfortable. Maybe he finds his jumper. But I just don't think there's any question to even contend with the Timberwolves. The Warriors are going to have to play pretty significantly better than they did in this series.
Ant-Man, Batman, Superman, Dubs in 7. Let's talk about this really exciting series that's coming up. I mean, Anthony Edwards, love him or hate him, you probably have an opinion on him, and he is one of the most exciting players in the game right now, a future face of the league, just runs his mouth and backs it up. A very enjoyable player to watch. It's going to be fun. We're going to debate this series coming up on Locked On Warriors.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Monarch Money. They are a sponsor of the show, the title sponsor of today's show. And if you ever check your bank account and wonder where'd all your money go, you know, dining out, online shopping, entertainment, you can lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is not just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop managing your money and you start building wealth. When I started using Monarch Money, I realized how much I was spending on delivery and cut it out and decided to just drive 3 minutes down the road to the Wendy's instead of delivering it for $45 a pop. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check in on your finances, track spending, even plan long-term goals. Managing your money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Welcome back, Kolsky. Very exciting series. Very exciting series coming up. The Wolves, Rudy Gobert. I mean, there was a time earlier in the season where we saw Draymond hit the nightmare celly. Just the most audacious celebration ever after he was going between the legs, high stepping, and then took a screen, went down the lane and yammed it and just went right in Gobert's face. He'd also choked Gobert in the past. So that is a dynamic to this series that's going to be outstanding to watch. You have the Naz Reid, multiple 7-footers aspect. You have Jaden McDaniels, who is really nice and gives you a ton of size, although you don't really think of him as a huge guy by any means, but he gives you length for sure. Minnesota has all these things, but all that matters is their star, numero uno, Anthony Edwards, one of the best players in the league and a guy that we've now seen 2 years in a row play his best basketball when the lights shine the brightest. This guy does not back down from a challenge. You heard him saying, I can't even say half the things that he has uttered over the past couple of weeks because they're not podcast friendly, but basically you saw the video where he was at the scorer's table and was talking about, saying, I can't even imply it, but you saw him on the streets walking after they won in 5. He's like, they said Lakers at 5. They said Lakers. I mean, he is funny. He's charismatic. He is electric. He is a high flyer. He is someone that you could put the ball in his hands and he's going to make a play. He's outstanding. I absolutely love watching Anthony Edwards. He is a joy, but as a Warriors podcaster and someone that hopes this show can go on as long as possible with meaningful basketball, it's time to start the Anthony Edwards hate. This guy is going to be a thorn in the Warriors side for a long time, specifically this series. Playoff Anthony Edwards is real. How excited are you to see what Golden State can do against truly maybe the next face of the NBA?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's an awfully tough job. They have a lot of good defenders on this team, but nobody really well suited. Nobody who's going to play really well suited to play defense one-on-one against Anthony Edwards, right? I mean, Jimmy, great team defender, not moving at the speed anymore to consistently, certainly not for 40 minutes, stay in front of Anthony Edwards. Draymond, same thing, tremendous defender, but not going to stay in front of Anthony Edwards all night. So it is going to be a creative defensive approach. I expect to see them blitz and double team him a lot. I expect every single person from, Gary Payton on the short end to Draymond on the tall end to get their shot defending Anthony Edwards. And, not unlike people defend Steph, you just keep throwing different looks and more guys at him and try to slow him down, The chat is right that Minnesota's defense is not as good as the Rockets really were an exceptional defensive team. But Minnesota's playing good defense, especially in the playoffs. And as much as we all crack on Rudy, and look, I'll crack on Rudy with the best of them. I don't think he should have however many 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards or whatever, but he is a significant deterrent around the basket, which means when he's in there, you got to hit shots. And look, yes, the Rockets defense was great. The Warriors also missed a lot of open shots in this series. I think we can all agree. So that's going to have to be a lot better. And listen, man, he's not going to rest all the starters. You literally don't have the numbers, but I would not. Let me put it this way. If I was coaching, I would be more likely to throw away this game 1 that we're looking at by resting guys than I would have been to throw away the game 5 we just did by resting guys. So, I mean, you're talking about 45 minutes each for Butler and Steph. 1 day off, travel to Minnesota from Houston, and play against the team that's been chilling for a week. That's already younger and more athletic.
Let me ask you this. So there was the gut punch in this series where Butler didn't play and the Warriors were still able to steal one. And when was that game 3? Yeah, game 3.
Game 3.
And they stole it and went up 2-1 in the series. If the Warriors were able to win game 1 in Minnesota after all the rest that the Wolves had, would that be a similar gut punch?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, that gut punch didn't keep him out of a game 7 here, right? So like
we felt pretty comfortable tonight, though. I mean, it was smooth sailing for the most part. Did the Warriors lead wire to wire? I think they did.
Maybe. Yeah, they
think
definitely
did.
led early, and I don't think Houston ever took.
Houston tied it.
They tied it. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, wire to wire.
Yeah.
You're right. And I'm not advocating it necessarily. Someone in the chat said it, and like, I think you think about it. I mean,
season's too
really,
short. You got to just go out there and fight, man.
I guess, but the best thing you can have, everybody understands, the best thing you can have if you're hoping to advance is the best Steph Curry, and like,
then stagger the minutes, man.
Maybe that's what it is, and maybe it's just not putting, 23 minutes of wear on him in the first half in game 1, right? Maybe it's just a more judicious substitution pattern. And I imagine not unlike game 5, if they're getting beat up pretty good in the third quarter, he gets the 4th off, sort of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're probably right. Everyone's probably out there. And certainly if you catch Minnesota a little rusty and catch lightning in the bottle, that is obviously a huge edge for the Warriors.
Yeah, I could promise you this. Steve Kerr's not going out there with anything on his mind other than stealing home court advantage in game 1. I would think that you're going to see another game where Curry and Butler go 40-plus minutes if they're in the game. That's just how short the season is at this point, man. You got to leave everything on the line and worry about your tired legs, hopefully on Market Street, right?
Yeah, but you know what, dude? Like, that's actually, I think I actually disagree with that, because you need to worry about your tired legs in games 3, 4, and 5. Like, yeah, I get it. And again, I'm not saying rest everybody. I think it's worth a conversation, and someone mentioned it in the chat. I think you probably do play everybody and try not to play them 40-plus minutes, because honestly, like, I think the odds of winning game one are pretty long. And I think if you want to compete over the course of this series, you really need the best versions of Steph and Jimmy you can get. And we've already seen, like, at this stage in their career, those guys can get tired at this rate. They had more rest in round one than they'll have in round two.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's just a tough spot, you know? There's no good answers, really. You're flying through Houston. You get 1 day rest to play a team that just whooped the Lakers' butts. There's no good answers here.
Dude, we're talking about three of the highest competitors in the sport.
Tough
ever,
to keep them on the bench.
Yeah, they're going to come out there and play 22 minutes each in the first half, and then we'll kind of see what happens from there. Anthony Edwards, I asked the question earlier, how excited are you to see him? And someone said it's more how nervous are we to see him? But at the same time, nerves, excitement, it all goes together. Like, he is fun to watch, and you got to beat the best to be the best. And he is clearly one of the best players in the game when the lights shine the brightest. They got Mike Conley, man. Think about it. He was on the same college team as Greg Oden. Oden. That's how long he has been in this league, and he's still playing at a pretty high level. He'll be fun to watch in this series. But the Wolves in general,
slightly better career than Oden.
Warriors played him well this season, but again, it comes down to the size thing that was a huge issue in this series.
You know what, though? We don't know anything about this matchup. These teams haven't seen each other in a meaningful way, right? I mean, It's been a long time. Both teams are different, but especially the Warriors are different. It looks nothing like the team the Wolves have faced in the past. So we're all going to be looking at a fresh thing come, Tuesday night.
Yep. And the narrative all season was the Warriors can't get past the Lakers. The Warriors can't get past the Lakers. The Warriors can't get past the Lakers. They don't have to get past the Lakers because the Wolves got past the Lakers. So that's that. This is Locked On Warriors. We will talk to you Tuesday night, game one between the Wolves and your Golden State Warriors, who win another game 7. Steph Curry with 22, Jimmy Butler with 20, huge minutes from Draymond Green, big points early. And finally, maybe Jimmy Butler will let Alfred call himself Alfred after Buddy Hield scores 33 points to lead the way, 9 3-pointers, and a huge Dubs victory. Subscribe to the show, everyone. Buddy, baby. What do you say, buddy? Peace. Woo.